Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. Welcome back to Big Mouth and welcome to Monday's edition of the dceu Daily. And if you're feeling charitable, please smash the subscribe button and the like button. And please do follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Before we start, before we talk about Ben Affleck and these rumours of him finally getting his Batman movie, we have got to give Ray Fisher such a huge shout out, right? Yeah, excuse the sun in my face, can't be helped, I'm afraid. I can't push the sun back. I'm not bloody Superman, right? Anyway, right? Big shout out to Ray Fisher. He did a podcast with the Nice Cast. Yeah, how did they get that gig right? Wow. And what a great job that the guy interviewing or talking to Ray on the podcast did. 3-hour podcast, exclusive to Vero. It was bloody brilliant and insightful. What a genuine, intelligent young man Ray is. And it just proves again how well Zack chooses his people. And Zack Snyder appeared on the podcast for a few minutes at least. It was, look, if you haven't seen it or heard it, go give it a listen. It is amazing. It's simply sensational. And as I say, it's 3 hours. I'd love to be able to play the whole thing, but I can't. But he talked about Shakespeare, about Justice League, about Cyborg, about the Snyder Cut, everything. But he talked about the industry, race, how you identify. And when he talks, you just want to listen. He just seems like such an amazing guy. It's the intellect in the guy. It's just sensational. So give that a listen. Ray Fisher on a podcast with the Nice Cast, exclusive only to Vero. But good news is Vero have now got a YouTube channel. So next time they do a big live event like that, but they can't handle it on the Vero account, the platform, you can use Vero's YouTube, which obviously can handle it a lot more. So great podcast, Ray Fisher, Nice Cast, Vero, brilliant. You won't regret it. And it just continues the gift that keeps on giving since Zack announced we're finally getting Zack Snyder's Justice League. And with that announcement, the tinfoil hat hasn't gone. Maybe for Chris Boggs-Benson, but not for me. I'm only joking, Chris. But no, you really need to put that hat back on. Come on, man. Come on. Anyway, right. So basically, then who are these? This is the Cultured Nerd, right? Now, I like the Cultured Nerd, but you've got to be careful when you read their articles. So they've got basically, right, they're calling this an exclusive. So let's read it out before we kind of venture our opinions. And it says, exclusive, AT&T and Warner Media want Ben Affleck as Batman. Now, I did notice AT&T were up to their own tricks again, like hyping everyone up and saying we have sent the bat signal. And I think probably this is what the cultured nerd, let's get it right, are alluding to. What a whirlwind of news for DC, WB and HBO Max this week. What if we said they're not done yet? Sources close to the Cultured Nerd have informed us that AT&T and Warner Media wants Ben Affleck to return as Batman and also to resume work to adapt his original script for the Batman that originally featured Batman vs. Deathstroke. No word yet on it. The project is for theatrical release or for HBO Max. As I said, HBO Max, 2 sides, theatrical, anything Zack Snyder or connected to Zack will be on Warner Max. And I think this is what they're trying to do here. Listen, they didn't take from November to May to announce this thing because they were just negotiating budgets and about the Snyder Cut. This was about Zack's continuation of his universe, and that's what's been going on. And this is why Zack wanted us to keep on hashtagging. That's why he didn't tell us until now, to keep the energy levels up. It put the negotiating power up high. You've got to look between the cracks in the pavement, everyone. So, someone called Unlimited on Twitter, someone asked a question, who knows what the future holds? Who knows? Who will answer the call? Yeah, That was one of them, but they've gone beyond that. They talked about the bat signal since then. AT&T are brilliant on social media. What? Yo, man, AT&T just liked your tweet. We're full of surprises. Wow. Yes, so basically, reading on, yes, you read that right. The return of Batfleck may be upon us. Now with Matt Reeves, the Batman, in production, this doesn't mean they are stopping one and moving forward with the other. Thank you. Thank you for actually saying what I've been saying for ages. This is DC, where the multiverse is very prevalent. From the comics, the animated series movies, the CW, and the live-action movies, there have been many interpretations of the Caped Crusader. We can have two Batmans at the same time. That's why I keep on saying we can have two Superman as well. Or two Supermen. Does that make more sense verbally? I don't know. Anyway, we can have two Batmans at the same time. That may open the doors to many new and exciting possibilities, with Zack Snyder's Justice League coming in 2021. The question many have is what comes next. Ben has been seen in incredibly good shape over the past month or so, and with AT&T and Warner Media wanting Ben back in the fold, this could mean there is life for Affleck's Batman after Zack Snyder's Justice League. There is no word if this project will be for a theatrical release or HBO Max. It is still unsure if any offer has been made or if Ben has been directly contacted for the project, but AT&T is pleased with the press that Zack Snyder's Justice League and is looking for revisiting the Snyderverse. Wow. Solid article, at least. Solid article. Definitely a tinfoil one. What do I think about this? Right. This is what's definitely happening right now. We are getting Zack Snyder's Justice League. That's official. We know that. Very, very soon, I think, I'm going to put my head on the chopping block and say, by the end of this time next week, we'll be discussing the excitement when David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad was announced. I think very soon, in the next few days, David Ayer's Suicide Squad will be announced. I think those two things are definitely happening. David has said, oh, yeah, well, we need special effects. It's pretty much ready. He's also said that. What else has David said? Well, oh, my God, I forgot the character's name now, but Enchantress, right? You know, Asian lady with the sword. What's her name? I forgot. Anyway, basically, Enchantress takes her over and she attacks the squad. Isn't that awesome, by the way? Wow. So he keeps on leaking stuff and telling us about pieces of his cut, which is really, really awesome, right? But basically, right, I think in the next few days, this is going to be announced. And I think timing is everything. The streaming service is, what, a day or two away? What is it, the 20th? Because it's available on the 27th, right? Is it the 26th today? Can't remember. Anyway, we're a day or two away from the launching of probably the biggest project Warner Brothers have ever launched in their lives, right? So it's very, very exciting for them. And to have Zack Snyder's Justice League coming next year is a great build-up for them. But to announce the air cut of Suicide Squad would also just add to that. I think that's the only thing you can hope for there being an official announcement right now. Things like Ben Affleck, taking on the mantle, that's a big thing. Ben walked away from that. It affected his mental health. He had alcohol problems, addictive problems, mental health problems. So it would really, I'm not sure it would take a lot of persuading, but I think for HBO Max and AT&T to be interested in that situation, they're going to have to look at numbers. You can't just jump in all in, right? Unless kind of the reaction and the responses are so good they think, yeah, let's do this. Maybe they would announce it. I don't think so. I think right now, Zack Snyder's Justice League and David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad, we should definitely be satisfied with. But now, after that's all said and done, absolutely, Batfleck back on the Warner Max side of the DCEU franchise, I would absolutely love that. And it doesn't just have to be part of the multiverse that we've got two Batman characters. It could be that Robert Pattinson is just a younger Batfleck. That would actually make more logic. But anyway, who knows what they're going to do? But it's certainly looking really, really interesting. I tell you what, since Wednesday, I'm being treated like some kind of rock star. Are you finding that other members of the release, the Snyder Cut, Zack Snyder's Justice League community. It's like everyone's going, "Hey, you're part of that Snyder Cut. Yeah, man, I really like you." And I'm thinking, yeah, well, I like you too. Thank you very much. It's a bit difficult if you're not used to compliments and attention. It's like, yeah, thanks. But yeah, we've all of a sudden we've gone from being toxic troublemakers to like being the Beatles, basically. How exciting is that? So it's very, very weird and odd times. But yeah, I know we all desperately want Zack to come back and complete his arc and do as much as possible. And I understand that. I understand that instinct because this was always going to be one of the things that was going to happen. One minute there's rumours about Zack coming back and Ben coming back, and then you've got Humberto Gonzalez saying all that's ever going to happen is the Snyder Cut. He has no way of knowing that. If these figures are good, if the response to this is great by a lot of the audience, right, and HBO Max are getting a lot of subs because of it, there is no way that they're just going to say, oh, well, let's just leave it at the Snyder Cut. There is an opportunity here to do something else with the DCEU on the HBO Max side of things. You know, I'm fed up with repeating myself on every edition of the DCEU Daily, but it's very important to reiterate this, you know, and it's what, as we say, the MCU are doing with Disney Plus as well. I think that what Zack could do for HBO Max and for that side of the DCEU is much more ambitious, and I think positive consequences for it would be great. Because what Zack would do, because he's Zack and because he makes everything so epic and compelling, I think it's really, really exciting. So, of course, I want Ben to get his Batman movie again. And it's totally different to what Matt Reeves is doing as well. So I would love, a Ben Affleck Batman movie written, acted and directed by Ben. That would be amazing, but only if his mental health can handle it. I wouldn't want Ben to regress to the problems that he had before because of a movie or because of a project. You know, life is the most important thing. Human beings are the most important thing. But if he's feeling healthy within himself and he wants to do this, absolutely, take my money now. Inject it into my veins. But right now, I think we need to focus on David Ayer's cut of Suicide Squad and Zack Snyder's Justice League. And my fantasy right now is seeing both those films in kind of in narrative order, right? So I can see David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad, then Zack Snyder's Justice League. What a binge would that be? But I'll give you a bigger binge. Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, David Ayer's Suicide Squad, right? David Ayer's cut of the Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, right? No. Yeah. David Ayer's Suicide Squad, Wonder Woman, Zack Snyder's Justice League, James Wan's Aquaman, which is still a great film, and I suppose and then you've got Shazam, and then you've got Birds of Prey as well. I don't know if you, but basically the arc. If you're talking about the arc, it is basically Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, David Ayer's cut. I'm talking about Wonder Woman. Really is kind of that arc. I don't think that Gal Gadot's Wonder Woman will ever be part of the Warner Max side of it. I think she might kind of come in now and again, but I think she would stay on the cinematic side, and I don't think Warner Brothers are going to bring her to that party. So that's interesting as well. You might get another, I don't know. There's some interesting things going on, so anything's possible. I do expect Gal's Wonder Woman to stay on that side. Obviously, she's in Zack Snyder's Justice League, which is very, very exciting stuff as well. But I don't expect her to migrate to this side, the HBO Max side of the DCEU. That's just my opinion. But we'll see what happens with all of that. But yes, very exciting times. And my message to you before I go for today is to say this: ignore the negativity. Ignore the Snyder Cut or whatever T-shirts they're printing. Ignore Jodie's Corner. Ignore Andy Singmore. Look, we won. We won the war. When Churchill won the war, he didn't go looking for Hitler. Well, he couldn't because Hitler killed himself, right? But the point is, when you've won a battle, you've won a battle. It's over. Now we want the Ayer cut released, and we want Ben back. We want Zack doing his thing on HBO Max, right? Because that's what makes more sense. And for the whole of the DCEU to have two sides is very, very exciting. So it's good stuff. So we really don't need to focus on the negativity. We don't have to keep on tagging AT&T and Warner Brothers about Jodie's Corner. Please don't do that. It's embarrassing, right? Don't do it. Focus on the positive. Let them say what they want. Look, I know a lot of people out there are keeping their receipts. I've said this before. I chuck my receipts away. That's why I can never take my objects back. This is why this rubbish laptop's still here, because I can't take it back. I chuck the receipt away. But I'm someone who can't hold a grudge. Naturally, I literally can't hold a grudge. The hate just goes away. The anger goes away. And I'm happy. That makes me who I am. But at the end of the day, we're getting the Snyder Cut. I'm 99.9% sure we're getting David Ayer's cut, the Suicide Squad. So there's nothing to be triggered about, and there's nothing to be unhappy about, because I can assure you of one thing: no matter what Andy Singmore or Jodie's Corner are saying, it isn't going to change the situation. At Warner Media, AT&T, and HBO Max, we are getting big things. Zack is back. We've got a great cinematic future with the DCEU. We've got two sides of two very different coins. And that, my friends, should be celebrated. Comment down below, like, share and subscribe. And I'll be back tomorrow with even more DCEU Daily. See you again soon.